This society is already a living, thriving example of diversity, and knowing more about how this came about and where many of us have come from is to understand modern-day Britain.
All Our Stories showcases a decade of the Migration Museum's work, alongside new stories and artwork that reveal just how central migration is to our lives in Britain.
My name's Ella Crispel, and my piece is Surge and Overflow. They're both woven paper tapestries, and they both deal with different aspects of how our in Britain perception of immigration is warped by the media. So I just looked for a different way to kind of convey the idea or a metaphor of how aggressive repetition of words or phrases or images about certain communities can kind of weave together a new perception or a war perception or something that is different from reality.
This piece is called Departures. It's actually just a fragment of a much larger piece. I've been fascinated by airports. I like people watching and all the machinery and all the planes and everything and all the procedures that people go through. So there was a kind of visual appeal, but it also connects to my position as a kind of, well, a migrant, I suppose, myself. So it reflects my biography as well in many ways.
My name's Ursell. I'm an artist. There's some of my works are showing in this beautiful exhibition today. My work's generally related to the migration and identity. Well, I came in here like 23, 22 years ago as a migrant. And then I just realized art has a kind of power to change the mentality of people. Then I try to use this tool to speak with it. And that's what I do since then, yeah.
I think it's incredible. I think the fact that so many different narratives and experiences are represented is really beautiful. It goes from the real difficult moments of displacement and migration to the really incredible moments. And I think it represents the nuance of lived experience of being a migrant or being a refugee or being a displaced person really poignantly. And what's really beautiful is that there's a real focus on making sure that things are being done in a really authentic, people-focused way, which I think is really integral when dealing with discussions to do with migration and displacement.
For this piece, the inspiration was how can we have a conversation around the different labels that are used to describe people who migrate, especially with all the debate around migrants we have had recently. I think it was important to shed the light on the vocabulary that's used and maybe think about the negative and positive connotations of certain words depending on who they're used for. My goal was to find a way to have that conversation in a way that's welcoming and friendly. You know, I'm not trying to be controversial or make people angry. I'm just trying to make sure people think about those words because words have power, and yeah, it's a good way for people to realize that the way you call somebody might affect how they feel about their sense of belonging.
The piece behind me is an installation I created called Worlds Apart, and it covers the stories of 4 different individuals who have migrated to places like Canada, Australia, and it just gives a little glimpse into their life using little paper fragments. The other piece that I designed is called Peace, and it's a giant interactive puzzle essentially that kind of combines the stories of the women who made the Raja quilt, which is a very famous quilt in Australia. It was made on a convict ship in 1841 and it had 140 women who collectively made this quilt. And so on each of the different puzzle pieces, I've done a dedication to each of the women who have made it and also given a little glimpse into their lives on why they were being sent to Australia, because it was a forced migration and the crimes that they were sent away for were kind of mad.
Tapestry of Time has been a fantastic experience in the creation and the learning and putting together these images. It's a 23-minute collage animated film that combines archived photographs, objects from time, little bits of animation, and we had to weave together all of this archive imagery from 9500 BC up to the present day. It was incredibly challenging, but exciting to find ways that would link all of these images seamlessly and poetically together to tell this narrative about migration.
My name's Amanda Hilton, and I'm a volunteer here at the museum, and I help in all sorts of different ways. I'm part of the Keepsakes exhibit in this exhibition, which was all done by volunteers, and it's about items that people bring when they migrate that mean a lot to them. In my case, it's not me that migrated here, it's my mother. She migrated here in 1938 from Austria. I'm talking about some of the things that she brought with her and with her parents that have come down through the family and that I have and that still mean a lot to me.
Here to the right here, that's my mother, Clarice Agatha Reed. Unfortunately, she passed away 2020. In the middle, they've got like Don Sidney, and then you've got his wife, Carol Sidney. The label people call them is the Windrush generation, but I just call them amazing people. Super people, really, essentially. All part of that amazing process and development of the NHS. Growing up here and seeing how the migration story continually has been chastised ever since we arrived in Mass, actually. Seeing the fact that the Migration Museum here are valuing those stories, like me as an artist who've worked in this area for at least the last 4 or 5 years. It's quite nice seeing the museum come together and celebrate those stories.
What I love about the Keepsakes and so much that the Migration Museum do is that they bring together all different kinds of migration from all different places and for different reasons. And by showcasing these items together, we see the comparisons and the similarities rather than the differences between people.
I really hope that it will make some people change the perspective they have on what it means to be a migrant or an immigrant, that it will open their eyes to everything that migrants actually bring to the country. Because the narrative is often, oh, migrants are coming here to take things, but they actually bring so much and they add so much to the fabric of the UK. I feel like this exhibition is doing such a great job at showcasing that. I really hope it will inspire people to be more positive when they talk about migration.